Hey viewers, welcome to African Tales by Afi. Please kindly click the subscribe button to get notified for more amazing stories. In the cheerful village of Nsunka, where the birds always sang and the children played until the stars blinked awake, there lived a man named Papa Joro. He was known far and wide for three things: his wide belly that bounced when he laughed, the red wrapper he tied like a king, and his love, oh, his great love, for palm wine. Papa Joro had a kind wife named Mama Tenny, who was gentle like a calm stream but strong like the roots of an old Iroko tree. They had 3 children: Tenny, the oldest, who always asked clever questions, Bayo, who never stopped running or shouting, and little Mimi, who thought butterflies were magical fairies. Now, Papa Joro wasn't a lazy man, no. Each morning, before the rooster even cleared his throat, Papa Joro would march out to the farm with his hoe on his shoulder and his cap tilted to one side. "Yam doesn't plant itself," he'd say. And the villagers would nod. Yes, yes, Joro worked hard. But in the evenings, that was another matter. Just as the sun dipped behind the trees, painting the sky gold and orange, Papa Joro would wash his face, stretch his back, and say, "Time to relax, eh?" Then he would head to Elder Kunu's palm hut, a small wooden shack where men gathered to drink, tell stories, and laugh like thunder. "Joro, you're late," Elder Kunu would shout from his stool. "I'm here now," Papa Joro would say, his belly leading the way. And with a cup in hand, he would drink. 1 cup, then 2. By the 5th cup, he would start singing. "Palm wine sweet like honey soup. It makes me dance, it makes me stoop. My wife is lovely, my children fine. But nothing beats this magic wine." The other men would roar with laughter, stomping their feet, clapping their hands. It was all fun, until it wasn't. At home, Mama Tenny would sigh as the food got cold. She would rock Mimi to sleep, hush Bayo who was poking holes in the mat, and listen as Tenny muttered, "He said he'd come early today." Again. When Papa Joro finally stumbled in, his eyes red and his wrapper half fallen, he would wave his hands like a lost rooster. Where is my sweet woman? Where are my babies? Bring food. Bring hugs. Bring, my stool." But no one smiled anymore. One evening, Mama Tenny stood at the doorway, her arms folded. "Joro," she said, "we need to talk." "Talk? You know I don't like serious faces at night," he chuckled, already reaching for his stool. "Listen," she said. "The children are ashamed. Tenny fights at school because people call you the village drunk. Bayo cried when someone said you sleep in the gutter. And Mimi hides when she hears your singing." Papa Joro blinked. "What are you saying?" "I work. I feed you. What more do you want?" "We want you," Mama Tenny said softly. "The real you. The you before the wine." But he didn't stop. Not that night. Not the next one either. Soon, Papa Joro began to cough. His steps slowed. His hands shook when he tried to tie his wrapper. One afternoon, he collapsed in the middle of the farm path. Villagers gathered around. "Is he dead?" asked a boy. No, said old Madame Ziba, the healer, who bent down beside him. "But this one is being eaten from the inside. The wine is feasting on him like termites on wood." When Papa Joro opened his eyes, he was on his mat at home. Mama Tenny sat beside him with a bowl of herbs and tears in her eyes. "Why are you crying, woman?" he croaked. "Because we need you," she said. Tenny peeped in from the door. Papa, he said, his voice trembling, I miss when you told us stories. Bayo added, you haven't played ball with me in weeks. Mimi ran in, climbed on the mat, and kissed his cheek. Don't sleep forever, Papa. That night, when the moon rose high and the crickets sang their sad songs, Mama Tenny packed a small bag. I'm going to see Baba Moru, she whispered. The children sat up. The mountain healer? Yes, she said. If anyone can help Papa, it's him. And so, as the fire crackled low and Papa Joro snored softly, his family set out on a quiet journey under the stars. The sky was still dark when Mama Tenny and the children reached the edge of Nsunka village. Crickets chirped and the moon glowed gently above the fields. Mimi, half asleep on her mother's back, mumbled, Are we going to the moon, Mama? Mama Tenny smiled sadly. No, my love. Just the hills. But the man we're going to see is very wise. Some say he can speak to the wind. Tenny, always the thinker, furrowed his brow. Do you really believe he can help Papa? I believe we have to try, Mama Tenny said firmly. We've done everything else. They walked for hours, through thick bush paths and across a sleepy stream where frogs jumped out of their way. Birds began to stir in the trees, and the sun peeked out shyly from behind the clouds. By the time they reached the foot of the great Mamba Hills, Bayo's feet hurt, Tenny's back ached, and Mimi had fallen asleep again. Are we close? Bayo groaned. We're here, Mama Tenny said, pointing to a narrow winding path that led up the hill, into thick mist. That's where Baba Moru lives. The climb was steep. Monkeys chattered in the trees, and butterflies flitted around them like floating petals. Finally, they reached a small round hut with a roof made of shiny green leaves. A thick wooden door stood closed. As Mama Tenny raised her hand to knock, it creaked open by itself. Tenny's eyes widened. Did you see that? The door just moved on its own. Shoo, Mama Tenny whispered. Be respectful. Inside, the hut smelled of herbs and smoke. Strange objects hung from the ceiling, gourds, feathers, shiny stones, and a large drum shaped like a turtle's shell. And sitting cross-legged by a fire, stirring a bubbling pot, was Baba Moru. His beard was white and touched the ground. His eyes twinkled like stars, and his voice, when he spoke, sounded like the wind through tall grass. I knew you would come, he said without turning. The woman with the strong heart. The children with fire in their souls. Mimi woke up and gasped. How did he know? I know many things, Baba Moru said, smiling as he turned to face them. But you are not here for riddles or stories. You are here for Joro. Mama Tenny knelt. Yes, great one. My husband is lost in the bottle. The palm wine has taken his joy, his strength, his place in the family. I have tried to help him. But I cannot do it alone. Baba Moru stared into the fire. Palm wine is sweet, but it can become a trap. A man must choose to be free. But he is too weak to choose now, Tenny said. He coughs. He shakes. He sleeps all day. Baba Moru nodded slowly. Then we must help him remember who he truly is. He reached into a dark bag and pulled out 3 things, a small red gourd with carvings, a bitter-looking black root, and a golden feather. This, he said, holding up the gourd, is the potion of remembering. It will make him sick for a short time, very sick. But it will clear the poison from his body. This, he said, pointing to the root, is bitterroot courage. It will help him say no when the cravings return. And this, he said, holding the feather, is not magic. It is a reminder. When he holds it, he must think of who he loves. That love will be his anchor. Mama Tenny took the items with shaking hands. Thank you. Thank you, Baba Moru. Baba Moru looked at the children. You must be strong. The road ahead will not be easy. But if you stand together, you can lead your father home. As they left the hut, the mist cleared and the sun shone brighter than it had all morning. By the time they returned to the village, Papa Joro was lying under the mango tree in their compound, staring at the sky. He looked tired, smaller somehow, like a balloon that had lost its air. Where did you go? He asked weakly. To bring you back, Mama Tenny said. She poured the potion into a small wooden cup and handed it to him. What's this? He asked, sniffing it. It smells like old socks. It's healing, she said. Papa Joro stared at her, then at the children standing behind her. Tenny looked serious. Bayo was biting his lip. Mimi held out the golden feather. Please, Papa, she whispered. Be better. And for the first time in a long time, something shifted in Papa Joro's eyes. Without another word, he drank it. He coughed. He gagged. He almost spat it out. But he swallowed every drop. Then he fell back and groaned. Ah! I feel like a lion bit my belly. That means it's working, Mama Tenny said softly, holding his hand. And as the sun set that day, Papa Joro began the hardest journey of his life, not through forests or hills, but through pain, change, and forgiveness. Chapter 3: Storm Inside Papa. The next few days were the hardest the Joro family had ever known. Papa Joro stayed curled up on his mat, sweating like a goat on market day. He groaned and moaned, muttering strange things in his sleep. His body trembled as though it was fighting an invisible battle. Mama, Bayo whispered one morning, is Papa going to die? Mama Tenny looked tired but calm. No, my son. He is healing. But sometimes healing feels like breaking first. Inside the room, Papa Joro shouted, Get them away. I don't want more palm wine. He tossed and kicked, even knocked over the water pot. Tenny ran in to help Mama Tenny, who wiped Papa's forehead with a wet cloth. It's the potion working, she whispered. The poison in him is leaving. But it does not want to go quietly. Papa Joro's lips were dry. I'm burning. Why is my head on fire? Why do I feel like ants are dancing in my bones? You're strong, Mama Tenny said. You can do this. The third night, it rained so hard that thunder danced on rooftops. Inside their little home, the children gathered around Papa's mat. He was calmer now, but still looked like a shadow of himself. Tenny sat closest. Papa, do you remember when you used to take us to the river and make boats from coconut shells? Papa Joro blinked slowly. Yes, I remember. Mimi crawled onto the mat beside him. And how you used to chase chickens and fall down. I laughed so much. Even Bayo added, and you once made a kite from palm leaves, remember? It didn't fly, but you ran like it did. For the first time in days, Papa Joro smiled, a weak, tired smile, but a smile all the same. Ah, you children. You didn't give up on me? No, Papa, Tenny said, holding his hand. We love you. But we miss who you used to be. Papa Joro closed his eyes, but his fingers tightened around Tenny's. The next morning, the sky was clear and the birds returned to singing. Papa Joro sat up slowly on the mat. His wrapper was loose, and his beard had grown wild. "Mama Tenny," he said gently, "I feel like I've come out of a storm." She smiled, handing him some yam porridge. "Then welcome back from the storm." He chewed slowly, looking around at his family. "I remember things. Strange dreams. A giant bottle chasing me. And your voices calling me back." "Do you still want palm wine?" she asked carefully. He shook his head. "No. The thought of it turns my stomach. But my heart is scared. What if the craving comes again?" Mama Tenny reached into the cupboard and brought out the bitterroot courage. "Baba Moru gave us this. Chew a little when the feeling comes. And hold this." She handed him the golden feather. "It's your anchor." Papa Joro held the feather carefully, as if it were a baby bird. "You all went through so much, because of me." "Yes," Mama Tenny said honestly. "But we also fought for you." "And you fought too." That week, Papa Joro did something he hadn't done in a long time. He went outside, not to the palm hut, but to the farm. He picked up his rusty hoe and stared at the fields. Tenny ran up behind him. "Papa, you're going to work?" "Yes," he said. "I'm going to sweat again. But this time, it's for you all. Not for drink." Bayo followed, carrying a small basket. "I want to come too." "You'll dig one row and complain," Papa Joro teased. "I'll dig too," Bayo protested. Mimi waddled behind, holding a little stick. "I'll carry the worms." They all laughed, deep, belly laughs that made even Mama Tenny peek out of the window, her heart full. Later that day, as the sun began to set, Papa Joro saw a familiar figure walking past the farm, Elder Kunu. "Ah, Joro," he called out. "We missed you at the palm hut. We just tapped a fresh batch. Sweet like sugar." Papa Joro's smile faded slightly. For a moment, he felt the old pull in his belly, the habit, the laughter, the warm buzz. But then Mimi shouted from the yam mound, "Papa, come and see the biggest worm ever." He smiled again and waved at Elder Kunu. "Not today, Kunu. Maybe never again." Elder Kunu shrugged and walked on. Papa Joro turned back to his family, heart pounding, but proud. That night, he told them stories again. He told them about lions who were afraid of frogs, about birds that sang with their noses, and about a silly man who drank so much palm wine he once kissed a cow. "Was that you, Papa?" Bayo asked, laughing. "Maybe," Papa Joro chuckled. "But that man doesn't live here anymore." Mimi curled up beside him. "I like this new Papa." Tenny said, "He was always there. He just got lost for a while." And Mama Tenny added, "Now he's found. And we're stronger because we found him together." Papa Joro looked at his family, his eyes shining with something warmer than wine, love. "I promise you," he said, placing his hand on his chest, "I will never go back to that bottle. I've already found what's sweeter." Every morning, he was the first one awake. The chickens barely had time to cluck before he was already in the yard, sweeping, whistling, and tending to the crops. His belly had shrunk, his eyes sparkled again, and his laugh, oh, his laugh, was rich and full, no longer slurred or loud from drink, but bright with real joy. "Papa, You're faster than the sun now. Tenny joked.
Joked one morning. Papa Joro grinned, tying his clean wrapper tight. The sun has to keep up with me now. Bayo jumped around with his wooden hoe. Let's race to the yam hill. Don't twist your ankle. Mama Tenny called, stepping outside with a basket of fresh okra. Even Mimi, now chasing butterflies again, sang a little song. Papa's strong, Papa bright. Papa wakes up with the light. That week, word spread across Nsunka that something was different in the Joro household. One morning, old Auntie Shaki, the nosiest woman in the village, knocked on their door with her giant head wrap and a bundle of cassava leaves. She sniffed, peering inside. Is it true? You have not been to Elder Kunu's palm hut in a whole moon? Papa Joro welcomed her in with a respectful bow. It is true, Auntie. My drinking days are over. She squinted. Are you sick? No, he chuckled. I'm healing. Auntie Shaki stared at him, blinked twice, then broke into a wide grin. Wonders shall never end. On the day of the harvest festival, the whole village gathered under the big irako tree. There were drums and flutes, roasted maize and groundnut stew, woven mats, and baskets of fruits and yams. The children wore their finest wrappers, with painted faces and bells on their ankles. Women danced with calabashes balanced on their heads. The elders sat in a circle, telling stories from long ago. Papa Joro, freshly shaved and proud in his clean white wrapper, stood beside Mama Tenny and the children. The village chief, Oba Malu, stepped forward with his long staff and booming voice. This year, he said, we not only celebrate the harvest of crops, but the harvest of change. The crowd murmured. Oba Malu turned to Papa Joro. A man who has plucked himself from the thorns of destruction and replanted himself in the soil of love and discipline, such a man deserves to be honored. The drums paused. Papa Joro, Oba Malu announced, step forward. The children clapped. Mama Tenny wiped her eyes. As Papa Joro walked forward, a gentle hush fell over the crowd. I don't have the right words, he began, voice shaking just a little. I made many mistakes. I hurt my family. I lost myself. He paused, then looked at his children. But they didn't give up on me. They held my hands even when they were tired. They called me back when I was too lost to find the way.
And my wife, she's stronger than any warrior. The crowd laughed and nodded. Papa Joro lifted a small calabash. This is not palm wine, he said with a grin. It's water and honey. From now on, that's the only sweet I need. He raised the calabash. To change. To family. To love. To love, the villagers echoed, clapping and dancing. Later that night, when the stars came out and the fire crackled low, the Joro family sat outside on a mat. I think today was the best day ever, Mimi said, licking roasted yam from her fingers. And tomorrow will be even better, Papa Joro said, putting her on his lap. Tenny leaned against him. Do you think the feelings will ever come back? The pull to drink? Papa Joro grew quiet. Yes. Sometimes. Like a shadow that follows you when the sun is behind. But now, I don't walk alone. He looked at Mama Tenny. I walk with my family. I walk with love. And love is stronger than any bottle. Mama Tenny smiled, placing her hand over his. Bayo leaned back with a yawn. I like this new papa. I like him too, Papa Joro whispered, looking up at the sky. The stars twinkled back. And from far in the hills, the wind carried the sound of a soft drum, like a heartbeat. Hello tribe, hope we enjoyed today's story. Please kindly put what you've learned in the comments section. Please remember to hit the like button, share this to your friends and family as well as subscribe to see you on the next one. Bye.